Well, hello and welcome to Social Marketing Lessons from Leaders. Right now, our guest speaker is Paul Stinemetz, and he's with EndlessRise.com. Now, Paul, are you with me on the line?
Sure am. How you doing?
Very good, very good. Thanks for joining me, Paul. I know that our listeners are really looking forward to hearing from you. We have a lot of speakers lined up, and everyone is really talking about the lessons that they've learned, and you're going to give a little bit of a different perspective, both from your own company but from your clients as well. So we're really looking forward to that, so thank you.
Appreciate it, Tracy.
All right, so I'm just going to give a little bit of a background on you, Paul, and then we're going to jump right into the questions and the interviewing that I had planned, all right?
Sounds good to me.
Great. So Paul Stinemetz was born in the small town of Holcomb, Kansas, and he studied biochemistry in Santa Barbara and planned on attending medical school in Los Angeles. While the days were devoted to books, specimens, research, and laboratory, the nights were set aside for extra jobs, on duty as security guard at the largest hospital in the city, and moonlighting as bouncer at clubs on the weekends. In search of passive income, Paul really stumbled upon online marketing and decided that was the safest way to generate passive income given his startup budget. So as business owners, I know that some of you are on that same sort of startup budget. In 2007, he purchased some online marketing lessons, put college on hold, and flew to Puerto Rico. Paul chose Puerto Rico because he said he wanted to get away and isolate himself from the rest of the world to increase his odds of creating a successful business. Him being a surfer and Rincon, Puerto Rico being the #1 surf town in the world had a significant influence on that as well. So the online marketing and design entity is now known as EndlessRise and has over 300 employees in Makati, Manila, Philippines. The primary services offered are search engine optimization, SMO, PPC, which is pay-per-click, and web design. EndlessRise runs over 1,500 marketing campaigns, making Paul one of the most experienced online marketing consultants in the world. Now, we're really looking forward to learning more and more. We had a little bit of a brief history there on how you started your business. But tell me, Paul, why did you start your business?
Well, one of the main reasons for starting the business was, as you said, I was looking for some passive income because I was the type of student that was studying difficult courses and working full-time at night. And I, first thing, medical school coming up, I knew I had to get out from underneath that or I wouldn't survive med school. You can't go to medical school and work full-time, although some people do, but, I'm not an alien. So I started working towards that. But as I got more and more involved in the online marketing and design atmosphere, I started to really realize what an opportunity was there, and I started becoming more fascinated with it. But at the same time, I was looking to outsource my services because I didn't want to build an in-house team. I wanted to set up everything on semi-automation and run it, and I wanted to be able to offer marketing and design services to people, and so I started looking for a really good outsourcing provider to do the work for me. Well, 6 years ago, you wouldn't be able to find that. You would have to go directly with firms overseas in India that are traditional retail firms, and you would walk the traditional outsourcing nightmare. And it became so obvious to me that there wasn't a proper outsource for this in the entire world that I became really passionate about it, because the harder and harder I worked for my business at the time to grow, which was a business to client entity, I couldn't get it to grow because I didn't have an outsource to support me. And it was literally one of those decisions where you say, well, I can either not do my business because there's not an outsource available, or I can simply go build that business that doesn't exist. And so I decided to build it. And that's what we did, but I stayed. Clearly, I didn't go back to my medical studies, and I don't miss it, to be honest. But a lot of it was being very focused. And, why to bloom this business? Well, we help people with their marketing and design, and that's important to us, and we find it to be interesting because it helps the economy overall. I mean, even though we are in the outsourcing hemisphere, we are in the business of increasing the revenue stream through people's businesses. So really, no matter where your type tapping into your outsourcing destination from. If it helps your business generate more revenue in the States, it's good for the economy. So whole way around, I like the business model. The online marketing industry moves, and it moves very fast. The principles and the goals involved in it move very fast, and it's a very entertaining industry to be involved in. So for those of us that are in the online marketing industry, such as yourself, as you know, it can become addictive, and I think I just got the addiction and never let go.
I hear you. And Paul, I think it's important what you had said. It's that you're really in the wholesale market, so you don't necessarily do business to clients anymore. You do business to business, and those other businesses are the ones that are doing the business to clients. Is that correct?
That's right. For the last 6 years, Endless Rise has not been open to the public. We are the hidden entity out there that the public never hears about. We're the entity that runs the back end to Joe's web design firm in New York, or pro marketing agency out of Houston, Texas. We're the one that actually is running the operations behind the scenes, and they're the ones running the front end to sell and do the consulting. So a lot of marketing and design firms are not running their own operations because, one, it's expensive to run in-house operations, and two, it's difficult to scale. If a marketing firm is going to onboard 100 marketing campaigns all at once, they're going to have to do a lot of hiring, and they could have to triple their staff. And if they lose that one client, it could send them into so much overhead that they'd be in a negative and dropping tremendously fast, and it's not a stable business structure. So, yes, we run the back end of marketing and design agencies, primarily across North America.
And that's exactly some of the work that we have for our clients. You do the work for us. So if anyone needs the help, they can come to us, but know that the stability is behind us because we have service partners just like you.
Correct.
So
tell
me.
And it does, as an industry consultant on social media, because a lot of the people that are listening have their own businesses, and they're not that middleman that we service. They're not that marketing or design agency. But we actually give consulting to the marketing agencies that service their clients. So what's unique about us is all of those marketing agencies that we deal with, we run their back end, but they're always critiquing us. They're always giving us information. We always have client feedback. So it's like taking the intelligence from one marketing agency and multiplying it by 1,000, and that's the feedback we get on our end. We're a bit deeper in the back end. We're kind of like a collective story, if you will.
And that's why I think it's so important that we have you on this social marketing lessons from leaders, because you don't just see, one company or even 100 companies. You see, like you said, the 1,500 companies. And so really you can give us a different perspective on what's happening with social marketing and how people are implementing it. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Correct.
So what types of social marketing do you use for your own company to get the other businesses, the other marketing agencies, and then as well, what do your clients use? So it's kind of two separate questions. First, what is it that you use yourself, and then what is it that you see your clients using most?
Well, for our own business, we are a business-to-business model. So we look for other businesses to do business with. That's our structure. So LinkedIn is best for us because we're looking for other businesses. And LinkedIn is specifically a social media platform that specializes in business-to-business relations. So because of our entity and that we partner with other agencies to service their client, of course, LinkedIn, between Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and in Google+, LinkedIn is the only entity that specifically facilitates a business-to-business relationship. So, of course, LinkedIn works best for us. And we track that with our own internal tracking tools. But for clients, through the services that we provide to the agencies, for the clients, we provide marketing services specifically for Google+, for Facebook, for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for YouTube, Blogger, the image marketing for Picasa and Pinterest. We do all of that, really. So client side, we do everything. In terms of for ourselves, we mainly focus on LinkedIn. The Facebook, well, and we'll get into consulting a bit later, I assume, as you ask me more questions. But the Facebook and the Twitter that we do ourselves and the YouTube is not so much geared towards getting new customers of our own. It's geared more towards the same thing you use Facebook for in your personal life. Hey, we had a company party. Check out these pictures. It's a get-to-know-us medium.
Yeah, more relationship-based because you're a person or the company has a persona.
Right. LinkedIn is what we use to get new business. The other social accounts we use for social relations.
And so tell me, with your clients, you have a lot of clients. Is there one or two, you mentioned, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Blogger, Picasa, all of them, Pinterest. Is there one or two that you see most popular with your clients?
Yes. Google+ marketing and Facebook marketing. Because the majority of the clients are not B2B, they're B2C, they're business to clients, as in they're selling a direct service to their client or a direct product to their client. The majority of businesses out there are B2C, and they're not B2B. So the majority of them are looking to associate with their audience. Now, Facebook is typically the number one platform to operate on for that because Facebook is the most popular in the world, right? But Google Plus is very, very popular because it's part of the Google footprint. And being active within Google Plus can help your website to rank higher within the Google search engine. So Google owns Google Plus, of course. And then your Google Plus profile and the same login is part of your Google Maps. It's also the same login that you can use for your Blogger account. It's also the same login that you can use for your YouTube account. So, not to mention Panoramio, but in all of those accounts, Google can track your footprint. And not only that, they can also, off of Google, with your Google Plus, off of, for instance, your blog on your website, you can put an authorship tag on there that links in with your Google Plus, so that you can claim authorship from your Google Plus on the web pages on your website or on the blog pages. And that Google credibility helps you to rank higher in the search engine. So yes, Google Plus is primarily used through us to help your Google search engine rankings from a social media standpoint, and the Google Plus marketing that we do is not used as much to facilitate onboarding of new clients solely from that Google Plus marketing. So, for instance, if you're going to avail through us as an agency and we consulted you for your client to run Google Plus, if the client had no website and we were just running Google Plus marketing to drive them new clients, we'd probably advise them to go towards Facebook. But because the website and the Google footprint are tied hand in hand heavily, and most people are using social media to help drive traffic to their website, we highly recommend Google Plus as a staple because Google is the number one search engine. Alternatively, you have Bing, who relies more on Facebook activity, because Bing and Facebook have a thing going. I don't know for how long, but they do. But if someone did not have a website and they said, and they're business to client, and they wanted to use one social media channel only, then I would say go for Facebook. People build mini sites out of Facebook. People have e-commerce stores in Facebook. You can do quite a bit with it. It's a pretty nice little tool. Of course, it's the most popular in the world. So the people that are more geared, if they had to choose one, they're more geared towards Google Plus because it helps your Google rankings more. But Facebook is probably the most popular for just a focused social media marketing campaign that we run for clients.
And what would you say is your favorite social media, social marketing tool?
For B2C, it's got to be Facebook. It's got to be, just because of how much traffic is involved in there. But it's really difficult because it really comes down to what kind of business that person's in. If they're not geared with this type of content behind them that is really going to help to promote them through the social realm, like for instance, maybe a plumbing company could have a challenge going viral on Facebook. You know what I mean? Because not a lot of people are real interested in plumbing updates, whereas if I'm someone who investigates local ghost stories or, alien phenomenon, that's just the kind of content that goes viral and goes wild, So some businesses are geared more towards the social media world and some are not, if they're trying to generate sold traffic and have it picked up. But overall, B2C, Facebook.
And what about for your own business, B2B? Your favorite?
B2B for the own business, LinkedIn, for sure.
And
but
is that
if
because you
just
see the
for
results
social
there?
relations. Oh yeah, absolutely. On B2B LinkedIn, I mean, really, how do you beat that? And referral key ties into it, so people are familiar with referral key. If you get that started up, it's almost like turning LinkedIn to an affiliate network almost. Referral key in LinkedIn is powerful. But LinkedIn is nice because if you want to contact someone to do business with them and you send them an email, they don't respond. If you contact someone and hit them up on LinkedIn, they respond. That's the difference. I mean, that's how simple it is. I mean, we do it over and over again. We're a little bit different. We don't go out there and try to target everyone on the map on B2B. We have very specific people we're going after. And it's not on an email blast list. You might get an email list and blast 10,000 people and count your percent returns at like a 0.2% return rate. But with how we approach LinkedIn, we're literally just focusing on a few people at a time. It's very targeted, but the response is very high. People actually respond to their LinkedIn. It's really surprising. I don't know why they do, because I don't.
Because you're in the know. That may change in a few years, right?
Yeah.
Seems
Maybe.
like at first everything is, the hype, and then everybody's responding and everybody's trying to keep up. Even emails, think about, you used to make sure you read every email, and now you probably read half or less of your emails.
I have some help with that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, you personally, yeah. So which one gives you the greatest return on investment, ROI?
Well, I'll answer that assuming you probably want me to talk about ROI personally as a company, but also what we see as direct clients getting on ROI through all the different social media channels. Of course, for ourselves, LinkedIn, but for client-facing, typically what we see is Facebook, really, because that's where the largest audience is. But it depends on where you're measuring the ROI from. If you're measuring ROI from the social media site itself, in other words, someone landed on your Facebook account, they found your contact information, and they contacted you directly from your social media channel, I would have to say Facebook. If it has to do with the social media driving people through to your website and them getting on your website and then them contacting you, maybe still Facebook, but it would depend, because if it's the ROI measured from the website itself and referral traffic from social media, then I might be leaning more towards Google+. But a lot of that has to do with how we do our services, because yes, Google+, but when I talk about Google+ in my own mind, I'm talking about more than just Google+, because Facebook is Facebook, right? But Google+ is more than Google+. Google+ is really not Google+. Google+ is your Google login. And with the same Google login, it's the same Blogger account. It's the same Google Maps profile. And it's the same authorship on your website. So that's a hard toss-up, because whenever people go to search for your results in the search engines and they see images indexed by Google's own real estate, and they see videos by YouTube or videos from your own real estate, even Google videos, and then they see your web pages or blog pages either from Blogger, your own blog with a Google authorship tagging on it with your own image, or your Google Plus profile ranking, all of that is directly as a result of your central Google login, which is part of the Google Plus. Google Plus is really your central login to the extension of all the different Google real estate. It's a whole world that it opens up to. And when you take that whole world and you smash it into the search engine results and you measure the amount of traffic coming through all of that, if you are utilizing images, video, the Google Plus, the Google Maps with the Google Local, right, and all of that, then typically from a local service provider, the best bang for their buck in online marketing, if you want to consider that the social channel, I would go with the Google Plus. But if you're going to measure ROI not as a result of traffic that hit and converted on the website, but traffic that specifically hit a particular social media platform and converted from there, and I had to put Google Plus restricted, not all the other Google real estate, just Google Plus right next to Facebook and no website attached, then it's Facebook all the way. But taking into consideration everything else that Google Plus is and how it helps your own website to index and rank higher, everyone's going the Google route. And Google's hot on the track. They've been buying up real estate for a long time, and they've been centralizing all of the logins, and that's something that Facebook does not have. And I don't think it's something they're going to go after.
Very interesting, yeah. And do they become more diluted, or do they stay focused on what they have been? That'll be a good question.
Well,
so what
Facebook
I'm hearing
did
is
come out with Facebook Search here recently, of course, which is still being tested everywhere, and that could revolutionize a lot of things. It's pretty crazy, but one thing's for sure, based on the amount of people that, no offense to Internet Explorer lovers, but based on the amount of people that still use Internet Explorer and the amount of people that are still using Yahoo as a search engine, Google's got 10 years of power in them just out of habit, honestly.
Well, and so what I'm hearing is Facebook to purchase, to a purchase, is great, and Google Plus isn't at the same level unless you take into account all of the other things that Google is connected to, and then Google really to purchase is probably the highest. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And the technologies behind Google are really great. There's one of the big differences between Google and Facebook is that Google has their own online docs. Google has their own operating systems. Almost every single cell phone in the world that's running, that's a smartphone aside from iPhone, is running off of the Android operating system, which Google owns. And you have to log into Google to use it. And Google can track where you are off of your cell phones. They can track traffic. They can track your physical footprint. And the amount of intelligence that they're able to gather off of that is so far superb to Facebook. So a lot of it, I advise people on multi-year marketing plans, and that's one of the reasons why I start talking about the technologies, is because it's really a lot of it on whether Facebook, in essence, is up against Google with their real estate, on whether they're a better means to go with in terms of the bang for your buck on your marketing dollars is going to be, where does Facebook search go to? But I don't think that they're going to touch Google because they don't have the technologies in place. They have social relations, but Google is hot on their trail. And some of the most recent surveys in terms of usability reports are showing that Google Plus users are more satisfied with how the system is organized and the usability behind it than they are with Facebook. Facebook is all about everything from games to family interactions and everything. I mean, it's done everything in the social realm. But Google took their Maps technology, they took their video technology, they took their images technology, they took their blogging technology, they took their search engine indexing. They now have where people are at on their mobile phones physically, and they've integrated it all into one central login. Whereas, if you sit in Facebook, you have to think about what is your social marketing, social media marketing that you're going to be doing within Facebook. What am I going to do? What kind of campaign am I going to put together? But with Facebook, you can hit a bit of a dead end. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're the right business model that can go viral through Facebook, you can become very rich overnight if you're the right business model. But with Google, your marketing plan can be very diverse, because with Facebook, it's kind of like If there's people listening that used to run email marketing campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
or if you send out newsletters, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if you send out more than one newsletter a week, you're going to start getting a drop in the people that are going to open up the newsletter because you're emailing them too often. They don't like
Mm-hmm.
that. Any more than once a week is typically a no-no with signing newsletters. Once every 2 weeks is okay. Once every 3 weeks is not enough. So it's either once a week or anywhere between once a week and once every 2 weeks. Otherwise, you're going to start getting a drop-off. But with a Facebook post and people that are actually allowing your updates to hit their Facebook itself, you can't do that too frequently, or they're not going to like it. They don't like looking at it all the time, just like I don't like getting an email in my inbox from the same entity all of the time. I don't mind updates every once in a while, but I don't want to see it all the time. And
Right.
if you're not doing updates that are out there to connect with people, I mean, what can you do? You can go and join groups and things like that, of course, and you can go join conversations and all of this. But as a general marketing campaign on content publication on what's out there, you can't push that too hard. So it really is going to depend on the business model and if there's enough networking for you to be doing on a B2C level inside of Facebook. But considering that a lot of the clients that are involved in Facebook are not typically looking for businesses to engage in purchasing from, because that's not the nature of that social media platform. It wasn't meant to be built for a B2C relationship. Facebook is not built with the intention of businesses stepping in and collecting clients. That's not how it was built. It was built as a social platform, and when it's lunch break here and I've got 300 of our employees on Facebook, I guarantee I know what they're all doing. They're all chatting with their friends. They're all doing friend updates. They're all posting their own photos. They're not looking for what they're going to go spend their money on. So when you look at a Google Plus marketing campaign and you look at the additional Google real estate and you say you can populate your videos over here, you have your blogs that you can be posting up over here, you have your images that you can be optimizing and putting over here, and you can be putting geotagging on your videos and geotagging on your images. And people can actually subscribe to your images. They can subscribe to your videos off of your channel. They can subscribe to your blog specifically. They can subscribe or be part of your circle in Google+. And, of course, they can always bookmark you. But there's so many different channels of interaction through the Google real estate that it's easier to mold your marketing direction going through the Google real estate because you have different channels that you can get into. And with the Google Circles, it's more business friendly, whereas with Facebook, it's kind of a hit or miss. You can only run a Facebook marketing campaign so hard if you're a local plumber. If you're a plumber sitting in Little Rock, Arkansas, and you want to blow up the city with your Facebook marketing, not a lot of people want plumbing news sitting on their Facebook. They just don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about now? I noticed you didn't mention LinkedIn for the ROI. Is that because you're thinking it's more B2B?
Yeah, right. For B2B clients, LinkedIn is great. They can have an incredibly high ROI. Most people that are in the B2B ballgame, their value for conversion, right, is typically quite a bit higher than a B2C. Most B2C relationships are a one-time pop. Like, I sold you a service. Maybe I trimmed your trees, or maybe I sold you a product. It's a one-time, and maybe they come back. But typically B2B, it means that it's a reoccurring business relationship. So the conversions are typically quite a bit higher, which is why it's a direct hitting you up and contacting you, which is where most B2C do not go out of their way to contact just one person to say, will you please buy my product? Because it's not worth the energy that they put into it to make that conversion happen, unless they're selling homes, then that's worth it. So B2B is worth tracking down the people you're looking for and closing a B2B relationship. It's more of a one-on-one personal approach. Now, you can pay to run ads inside of LinkedIn as well as you can pay to run ads inside of Facebook. And that's more of a mass approach, but that's a little bit different. I don't think we're talking about the paid advertising. But yeah, on the LinkedIn, the ROI for B2B I think is really high. I think it's a great way to network, and I think if people want to tier that out and start more of a referral, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Referral key is really big and up and coming, and a lot of people can get into that as well. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So tell me, we've talked a lot about ROI, return on investment. How do you measure it for Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn? What are some of the tools that you use, or is it tools that measures dollars, or do you measure engagement, or do you measure, likes and friends and connections and that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a dashboard that we use. Some clients set up their own accounts, whether it's with a dashboard like Sprout Social or Hootsuite, and that can track their metrics for them. And sometimes we recommend that they do that because something like Hootsuite or Sprout Social will allow you to respond to conversations all in one place. So if you do have a LinkedIn account and a Twitter account and a Facebook account and a Google Plus account, and you're tired of logging into 4 different accounts to respond to something, you can do it all from one central login through a platform like Hootsuite or Sprout Social, and they have your metrics that you can track. But the type of tracking that we do is based on the website itself. So when we offer people social media, our goal is to pull them to the site. Social media is great, but the empire is the website. That's where all the content is. That's where all the videos are at. That's where everything's at typically. So the vast majority of the time when we run social media, we're driving traffic to the website, and we track the social media conversions coming into the website off of using Google Analytics. It wasn't that long ago that Google Analytics updated to where they're able to track where your social traffic is coming from, and they give you a lot of really good insights. And you can set up goal tracking even with conversions, so you can measure estimated dollar amounts, and you can estimate which social media platform it came from, whether it was from Google Plus or whether it was from LinkedIn or YouTube or, I don't know, any other 100 different social media referring sites. It can track, and you can set up your goals and what you consider to be a conversion and what that's worth to you. And once you get those profiles set up inside of there, you can really track it. So yeah, there's the tracking based on what's hitting Facebook on Facebook, and then there's the tracking at the website level on how much traffic came from all your different social media sites. But it's kind of nice, if you are running, and most people don't, but if you were running a Twitter campaign and a LinkedIn campaign and a Facebook campaign and a Google Plus campaign and everything else underneath the world, it's a lot easier to measure all your metrics from your website because that's your central traffic reception point. And with Google Analytics, we can monitor all of that, and we can have all the controls behind it. And anyone can find a lot of reading material on how to set that up online because everyone's talking about how to configure their Google Analytics to track social media metrics. And again, Google was really smart about that. Google said, hey, how about I give you a way to track your Facebook?
Yeah. Really integrating
they're right on the ball
what
with
they're
that.
doing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Paul, one thing that we do is we actually track some of our, like LinkedIn. We do some ads on Facebook and LinkedIn, but we track them through Infusionsoft, our email marketing program. So, really for ourselves and our clients, helping people to track, are you making money on it? So I can see exactly how much money I've spent, and then I can go into my Infusionsoft and see, okay, did they click? Did they sign up? Did they purchase? What was the value? So that I can actually see how much did I spend and how much did I make, right? So am I at break even or what is going on?
Right, and that's measuring traffic. The only other missing piece to measuring your traffic is if you are displaying a phone number on your Google Plus, on your Facebook, on your website, on your Google Maps, of course, and if you're displaying that phone number and that's just your business phone number, you don't have a way to track where it's coming from. Now, if wherever you insert this phone number, you have a way to make people click on it and track that click, then you can get an idea. But, the only way to really track who's calling you and from where, which is honestly one of the most important things to track, because that's your most valuable traffic, is someone that landed on your Facebook and they just grabbed your phone number and called you. I mean, that's important traffic. That's probably a more potential converting client or customer than someone who filled out a form. I can tell you one thing. When I pick up a phone and call someone, I'm a lot more serious than when I fill out their form. When I fill out their form, I'm telling them I'm semi-interested, but I'm willing to let you take your time in getting back to me, and maybe it'll hit my spam, maybe it won't, but I'm not too concerned. When I pick up a phone, I'm curious to know who answers the phone. I'm curious to know if you actually service your business hours, and I'm ready to talk to somebody right now. I'm a targeted client on the go. And the most important traffic to track is your phone traffic. And there is only one way to track that the right way, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. You have to generate a different phone number for your Facebook. You have to generate a different phone number for your Google+. You have to generate a different phone number for your website, and you track the statistics off of who calls that phone number, and you know that who's calling that phone number because that phone number is only on one social media platform or your website. And that's the only way to do it. And there are systems that do generate different phone numbers for you and track based on what you say that phone number is registered to very easily. And it's not that expensive either. You know, CenturyInteractive.com is known to be a wholesale call tracking provider, and they have a lot of intelligence behind them. You know, a lot of marketing companies use this under a white label. There's probably 1,000 different call tracking resellers out there of this company that you go to, and you see this phenomenal platform. But honestly, it's all Century Interactive, and their rates are really, really good. So if you really want to track, besides just the clicks that are going on online, and you want to track phone numbers, you have to use call tracking. And the biggest question to that is, can I just use my phone number that I have right now? And the answer is no. Because if you could give me your phone number that you're using right now and I can track it, that means I could track any phone number in the entire world, and that's illegal. So your phone number has to be generated either by a call tracking company, or you actually have to hand your phone number over to the call tracking company. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. The best thing to do is to get a hold of a call tracking company and set it up. CenturyInteractive.com is very cheap. Twilio, you can also allow that to work for you. Century Interactive is more consultative based. Either one of them are not that expensive, but I like that you're asking me about tracking, because when you are running marketing campaigns, no matter how big or how small, tracking is really necessary. But whenever you do call tracking, that doesn't just apply to social media or your website. That applies to print. If you want to do a magazine advertisement, how are you going to track your return on that? Well, spin up a phone number. It won't cost you much. Put it in your system. Put it out there and track your return on that. And you can even record phone calls and things like that. So getting a little bit off the subject of social media, but that is one of the general grounds that has to be covered in tracking that most people don't cover, because it's impossible to auto-integrate, and it's a bit of a pain in the butt to set up. But it's the most important.
Paul, I think it is important, and it is part of social media, because social media tracking, I mean, when you're putting something out on social media, you have to be able to track it. Like I said, we do the links through Infusionsoft, but you're right, with a phone number, you know, that's something that even we hadn't thought about tracking is, you know, are people picking up the phone from that ad or from that post that we've put on social media? So very good point, and I think it has a lot to do with social media.
Yeah. With a platform like Century Interactive, I could, if I put a different phone number on each social platform in the site, I could look at metrics from Google Maps and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and my website and maybe even my YouTube channel, and I could look at call statistics from all of those, and I could compare average call durations, the amount of calls that only lasted below X amount of seconds, the ones that did not pick up, phone calls that came in during certain hours. I could easily look at that from a statistical overview and be like, wow, okay, this is really interesting. I get an average call duration of 5 minutes from here or wherever from there. Of course, it could be a different person answering the phone on a different shift, but At least you would have your metrics, and yes, you could record everything. So and that also bridges the gap between once that social traffic does hit their business, what do I do with it then? You know, what is it? What is it said that around 30% of businesses in the United States are ever become profitable, ever. And part of that is because most businesses are not built properly. That's just part of the problem. It's not easy, you know, and a lot of it has to do with who's answering your phone and what are they saying.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes it's as simple as that. So in regards to that, call tracking is great because it bridges the gap between your online traffic and what's coming into your office. And when you see a drop-off on phone calls, you can actually listen to the recording and find out what happened and address the issue inside of your company. Because bringing yourself the traffic is the first battle. The second battle is converting that traffic yourself. You know, you take any two major competitors, you put them side by side, and that client's going to call both of them, and which one of them is going to get the traffic. And the majority of time, one of those competitors takes about 80% of the business, and the other one takes about 20%. And that's usually how it happens. Someone has better phone people.
If you're the 80%, you're laughing, and if you're not, then you're not.
And honestly, it takes the call tracking and call recording and someone at an executive level to be checking in on those phone calls and saying, well, you know, would I want to talk to that person?
So, Paul, tell me, how does social marketing fit with your overall marketing plan? Is it 100% of your marketing, or do you do other things as well? How does it fit?
With our particular marketing, is a bit unique. Well, I'll speak to two things. What I recommend most clients do in general and what we do. We're in the medium. We're considered a medium-sized company right now. You know, at national statistics for 300 employees and where we are in our niche. We're in a position as a company now to where we can focus on brand more because we're already out there enough. You know, we have 4,000 registered agencies with us. We're big enough now to where we're not trying to get our name out there anymore. We're really in a position right now to where we can work on our branding, and we will naturally grow off of the word of mouth. So we're in a branding phase of marketing right now, and that makes us kind of unique. There's not very many companies that are in that phase. But when companies get big enough, they don't worry about SEO, and that's pretty much where we're at. But like, for instance, Facebook doesn't worry about SEO. CNN, ABC, NBC, all of those, none of them worry about, you know, Boston Globe. They don't worry about SEO. They're not trying to get rankings up. Everyone knows who they are. They're working on their brand. But for the majority of everyone that's out there, you need clients, and you need to get them through more visibility within the online hemisphere of some sort with adequate tracking. And for that, you know, which one I would recommend to integrate with other marketing channels, I would recommend rolling them in with SEO. Most businesses that are going to be listening that have direct clients are probably locally based, and they're probably offering a product to their local clientele or a service to their local clientele, because that's simply the majority of the audience. And speaking to those people, I recommend, yes, using social media, but using it as an extension of SEO. And by SEO, I just mean the work that you need to do to get your website ranking higher. Because you set someone down and you say, okay, well, I want you, you know, I'm sitting in Denver and I want to buy a snowboard. Where are you going to go? Are you going to go to Facebook or are you going to go to Google? Product sales, they still go to Google. I'm sitting in Denver and I want to find a dentist. Where do I go? Do I go to Facebook or do I go to Google? They all go to Google. Everyone still answers that question the exact same. And when people ask me, should I put more weight on SEO or social media, what I ask them is if you sat your client down in front of you and said, if they were looking for you, where would they go? What are they going to say? And if they say Google, I say SEO. And if they said Facebook, I say Facebook. And almost every single time their answer is the exact same, Google. Yeah. Or they say Bing, or they say Yahoo, and I say, all right, well then, you answered. Everyone can answer their own question if they just address that. But the truth of the matter is that everyone should be doing social media. The people that so much engagement was focused on SEO from an online marketing perspective for so long that people forgot about the social relations. It almost became just rankings. But then whenever social media came about, everyone started thinking about social media from a sheer traffic standpoint. But, SEO is great for driving you the customers that are looking for you, because we can actually do research in SEO and know how many people are searching for those specific keywords for you in Google, and we can't do that in Facebook, right? So we don't know what traffic is there. Maybe in the future they will with Facebook, but that's still the unknown. So you're still walking into it a bit blind because it's the unknown. You don't know how many people are specifically looking for you because it's a social hemisphere. It's not a search engine yet. But if they use social media as a common denominator that all companies should have, a Facebook, just a light Twitter up. If you're B2B, you have to have LinkedIn and maintain a Google Plus account. And at bare minimum, if you're not doing anything else, just using it as social relations. That's great. If you are a plumbing company, you can always be giving your people that do business with you updates on some of the fun things that you're doing with your business, or funny office pictures, or funny what happened to me stories. It's a social way to stay in touch and engage, and I think a lot of people don't quite realize that just being able to stay in touch and build that social relationship with people is really essential to doing business, especially in particular geographic locations where you're just servicing your local service area. That's really important, but it doesn't mean that the social media channel for you is necessarily appropriate to be going out and blasting promotions and always talking to them about your latest service and updates and kind of the stereotypical social media that I see a lot of people doing. My main thing is if your content is not socially accepted as what people want to see on their Facebook wall or staring at them on their Google Plus, then people really need to reroute how they're going to run their marketing campaign online. You either have socially likable services and products that's easily distributed in the social world, or you don't, and some things don't. Funeral homes probably aren't going to do real well on Facebook.
Great point.
Right? Exactly. If I was selling, if I was a spa, if I'm a restaurant, those do great. Everyone likes pictures of foods. Everyone likes pictures of getting pampered and being taken care of. And hey, promotion, 50% off at my restaurant that I like. This is awesome. Restaurants, nightclubs, spas, they all do great. Doctors, lawyers, and dentists can do good to a certain degree, but again, that's bending the line a little bit. That's more about really taking the network that you have and reaching them through your social network of pre-existing clients that you had to stay in touch with them. But doctors, dentists, and lawyers, really, that's kind of their realm. Being able to touch base with everyone that they already were in touch with and retain them as clients through social interaction, whereas restaurants, nightclubs, and spas, those are the type of businesses that with social media can gain a greater visibility and gain more clientele naturally. That's the natural flow for that type of a business model. So businesses really have to ask themselves, what do people think when they would see my kind of business or service or product on their Facebook or on their social media? And is this something that is socially viral and spreadable and likable or not? And if not, maybe they need to go more towards the SEO route. And if so, maybe they need to go towards the social media route. But so much of it comes down to what is the nature of the content that you're going to distribute, and with the nature of the content you're going to distribute, typically it has to do with whatever service or product it is that you're offering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that goes back to what you said earlier. For yourself, you might use LinkedIn because it's B2B, and yet, for B2C, most times it is Facebook. However, you always have to be watching to see, am I getting a return on investment, and is this the right medium for communicating with the people that I do business with? So, Paul, where do you see social marketing going in the future?
That's a really good question. I think that the biggest changes to social marketing is going to come with social search. Facebook isn't going away, and that sort of a social hemisphere is not going to go anywhere. It's only going to become more popular. But right now, you have a very large separation between your social media and the search engines. There's a big separation. That's the gap that's going to be bridged. And Facebook is trying to bridge it right now with the search they just opened up, and Google's been doing big things with their Google Plus and assimilating all their different real estate with its central login. So the future of social media is going to be shaped most by the direct interaction of the capacity to search. But I mean, it's phenomenal what you can do with social search. Imagine being able to do a search with Facebook is going to have the capability to do that, to know, show me all restaurants in my area that my friends have gone to more than once, or that my friends like. Or, show me in this country any place that my friends have a 2-click relationship from in that country, and maybe I can hit up my friend and ask him who they know over there so I can drop in and see someone. It's going to be, everything is going to be social related in your search results online eventually. Google has slowly been custom tailoring search results to your geographic location, and then they took it a bit further and they started customizing your search results if you're logged into a Gmail account specific to your Gmail login. So they can remember the type of sites that you visited and things like that, and they to this day return you, if you're logged into your Gmail account, they return you custom search results to your account. But it's going to get even crazier. It's going to get related results based on the people that are inside of your Google circles. It's going to get more and more extensive, and when you see search results in the future, you're going to be seeing how many people did like those that are not globally but are inside of your circle. What is closest to you? Everything's going to become very interactive socially with their organic search results. But right now, everyone's looking for products and services based off of the organic search. And whenever it starts to go social, that changes the entire way to approach how you run search engine optimization. And that's going to change a multi-billion-dollar industry in terms of the methodology and what's going after it. Because right now, you can take a company in SEO and put them up, a small company, and put them up against a big company, although things are changing. And if you're able to produce a decent amount of content, if you're able to produce better backlinks, you can surpass that larger company in the search engines. But whenever it's going to start relying on social signals more and social involvement more, it's hard to say. I think it's going to become even easier for smaller companies to get more visibility, because it's all going to be not just locally targeted, but socially targeted with the local audience. And that's going to become really cool, because before, with Google and their search results, if you typed in, if I just typed in pizza and I was sitting in Denver, I got global results. Like literally, it didn't matter if I was sitting in India or whether I was sitting in China or whether I was sitting in the United States. And then it started rendering national results. But now, with it being to where, and eventually if I'm sitting in Denver and I type in pizza, it's going to show me restaurants based not just on the Denver area, but what's closest to my IP address and what my friends like the best, and out of the ones my friends like the best, which one had the best reviews from people outside of my circle, and tailor those results to me coming in. But it's cool to think about that, but to think about, how do you take that pizza restaurant and make them number one inside of you? And that's what makes our life difficult.
That's what makes it interesting.
So the future of social media
keeps you doing
the future
what
of social media, search results will become social results, and search engine optimization will become social search optimization, and it's going to have a lot more to do with reaching out and gaining your audience in your local area and having them approve you to get greater presence in the search results. Because as soon as search results start being tailored socially, it's not going to be about backlinks, and it's not even going to be about so much about the extent to the content on your website. It's going to be about those people that wrote your review or liked you or are frequenting your site based on the amount of time they spend on your site, Google's going to be able to look at that person now. Because before, Google, whenever they see you visit a website, they see an IP address. They see a number. But the difference now is when you're logged into a Gmail account, they know where you're at on your cell phone. They know how long you're on the site. They know what your own YouTube channel is and what your own online engagements are, and they know if you're real or not. They know if you're a real human being, if you're really interactive, and they know, are you commenting on everyone all over the place? And what is your inbound comments to outbound comments and inbound reviews to outbound reviews and all of that? Do you look like you're someone that's spam and a fake person owned by a marketing company? Or are you a real, genuine human being in that geographic location that really did approve that company and you're engaging with them socially and on their website? It's going to come down to, the mom and pop shops are going to be able to gain search engine rankings based off of social approval, and I'm always for the underdog. So I think that's going to become phenomenal because it's not just going to be the corporations playing the big leagues and dominating the search engines anymore. It's going to come down to the local level and the niche product level, and it's going to be more room for more companies on a lower budget. I think so.
Which is good for the small business, right?
Very good for the small business.
Yeah, what tools, Paul, do you use to simplify or automate your social marketing? You mentioned earlier Hootsuite, different ones, Twilio.
Hootsuite is nice. Sprout Social is nice. But people can Google those and find social media tools all day long. Social media tools are used for two things typically. Connecting your multiple social media accounts so that whenever people have something to say to you, it all gets put into one area like a central inbox, and you can reply to it in one area. So you don't have to go into logging into multiple platforms to respond. That's one of the most handy features of it. Two, typically within these tools, you can also write something and distribute it out to your LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, and Twitter all at the same time. So it also makes distribution a bit easier. But then again, you don't have targeted engagement if you're saying something and distributing it to 4 different channels at the same time. Right. So typically, speaking to a direct client, if they're going to be handling their own marketing, they're usually just going to engage really heavily in Facebook or in LinkedIn, typically. And whenever they go to measure their return on it, it's going to be pretty stark and clear where they're getting it from. And so is a tool needed for that? Typically, no. As a marketing agency, and we do run campaigns to where we hit every single social media platform underneath the moon, and for SEO purposes and social signals and stuff we won't get into, there's a good reason why we do that. But just based on social media involvement alone, in my opinion, unless you're an agency running multiple campaigns, you don't really need tools. Because if you're doing your own marketing or you're just handling a couple of sites, Facebook and the Google Plus platform is fine, and they have their own metrics, and you can have the Google Analytics to be looking at on that. You really, unless you're getting really fancy with a bunch of different social media accounts and handling multiple agencies, that's when the tools become really important. Because if I'm marketing for 500 different agencies and I have 40 different social media accounts on every single agency, and I need to handle all those logins and profiles and schedulers and everything, those are the kind of tools I'm thinking about. But I think that people need to wrap their minds out much more around strategy and the content that they're promoting and less around tools. Tracking's not too difficult to do, and it's built into the social media platforms. Most of the problem is people don't pay attention to the tracking that's in front of them. Most people that do have Google Analytics don't look at it. If they just find tracking and use it, but focus on the content that they're putting out there, because the difference between one video getting 1 million hits and one video getting none is the nature of the content that's on there, and same goes for a social media post.
All right. So as we wrap up, what one piece of advice do you have for a company that's just starting social marketing? So not necessarily a startup company, but a company who's maybe been in existence. It could be a startup, but really just starting their social marketing. What piece of advice do you have for them?
Talk to their clients first. If they have clients, talk to them. These are the people that are going to be the ones that would like you. You know, they're going to be the ones that are going to decide whether they're going to keep your content showing up in front of their face or they're going to shut it off. Talk to them. That's the step that everyone misses, and it blows me away when people ask me, should I go with social media or SEO? And I say, you ask your client how they found you? And they say no. I say, well, why don't you start there? You know what I mean? It's just so blatantly obvious that everyone misses it. And with you know, the social media, you need to understand the type of content that people want to see. It's not necessarily common sense. There's some if you Google corporate social media blunders, you'll notice that even some of the highest revenue generating corporations in the entire world have made a real embarrassment of themselves online. You know, put together a survey, ask your client what they would want to see, ask the client that if they did see any sort of type of content of yours, if you are going to go for Facebook, that what kind of content would they have to be put in front of them for them to like it, right? And what kind of content or what would need to actually be put in front of them for them to want to be a friend of yours, subscribe to you, you know? What would they have to see? And if they follow the advice of their clients and their clients are being honest, then they're going to run a successful campaign. They might not have a ton of new people coming on. It might not be huge and grand because the service model might be that they're a landscaping company and people don't really care that much about landscaping companies on their Facebook account. They just don't, unless you're really creative and really funny and, you know, juggle chainsaws or something.
Yeah.
But talk to their clients. That's my main thing. You know, if you're B2B, look into LinkedIn. If you're B2C, look into Facebook and Google+. But talk to your client and understand what it is that would make them engage with you and how often. And understand them well, and then give them what they asked for. It's that simple.
Good. Awesome. So thank you very much, Paul. Paul Stinemetz from Endless Rise. And if anyone wants to get a hold of Paul, they can contact us at tracy@tracyfeber.com. And if you're interested in outsourcing marketing services, again, contact me because I do have some special pricing available to you that Paul has graciously offered. So anything else that you think is important that our people know for social marketing lessons from leaders today?
Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much then, Paul.
Take care.
Bye now.